All right, so this next movement pattern is cornerstone to human performance. So what I want you to do is, as you take a step, what a lot of people do that's a form of compensation is they push their quad up and then come over, okay? So instead, what I want you to do is focus on pulling from your hamstring. So you shouldn't push yourself into the step. You want to pull yourself with the front leg forward, okay? So how you're going to implement that is you're going to engage your adductor, so it's a little bit of a hip hinge. So you're going to feel your inner thigh engage, your hamstrings going to engage, and then you're going to pull yourself forward. So if I wasn't moving, it would be like pulling this foot back like that, okay? So my hamstrings are activating, my glutes are activating, okay, as I take the step. So you're pulling into the adductor, which is your inner thigh, your hamstrings on, and then your glute fires as you take that step. All right, so I'm going to give you a couple examples of how to implement this in different situations. For example, when you're doing step-ups, think about pulling your foot back towards you, and if you pull so hard, then you'll actually pull yourself up, okay? Versus what a lot of people do is they will fire their quad first, so they'll come up and over, which just puts more pressure on your back, as well as you're not using your glutes and hamstrings the way that you should through the exercise. So you're going to pull into the adductor, pull yourself up using your hamstrings, and fire that glute last at the end of the movement. When you're doing lunges, take a nice big step, and as you come down, remember, don't push up, pull yourself into the movement, fire that glute, and then take your next step. So every time, whether you're running, and that's the most efficient way to move. So whether you're walking, you're pulling into the step, whether you're lunging, you're pulling into the step, whether you're running, it's the same principles as far as activating the inner thigh, pulling through the hamstring, and then firing that glute last as you take that next step. This last example is going to be side-to-side squats. So you want to implement the same principles here as you would in a forward position as you would sideways or diagonal, okay? So when we're squatting sideways, you want to not push yourself over, but pull yourself with the opposite leg. Okay, so as you're pulling into this, as we're moving this way, you're going to use your inner thigh. If I wasn't moving, I'd be thinking about pulling this foot towards me, okay? But I am moving, so I'm going to pull so hard that it actually takes me into the next step. Okay, so staying nice and low, pull yourself into the side. So if I was doing side squats, it'd be the same thing. I'm going to pull myself into the step, okay, versus push over, which would throw me off of balance, okay? So not only does it work the muscles properly, it helps your athletic performance. All right, so to sum this up, whenever you're doing any athletic movement or exercise, I want you to think adductor, hamstring first, and then glutes, okay? And this will prevent you from compensating with your quads, okay, overexerting them. What this is going to really do is help you move properly so it prevents injury, and it just enhances your athletic performance because you're doing things right. You'll have better balance, greater strength, speed, everything will be so much better, as well as you'll be preventing pain and injury. So that's what I want you to think about. Now, it might take a while to implement this, so don't get frustrated if it takes a little while to learn it if you're still kind of using your quads. This is something you really have to be mindful of, and the more you practice it, eventually it becomes second nature, and you won't have to think about it again. It'll just kind of do it automatically.